Probably heard that one before. If it was never new and it never gets old, and it's a folk song.
We have a real affection for traditional American music in general, and that's the music that preceded the folk revival. And we thought, wouldn't it be interesting to start a movie with a folk singer being beaten up in the village in 1961?
What'd you say you played?
Folk songs.
Folk songs. Thought you said you were a musician.
An interesting time in American music. It was the end of some things, the beginning of others.
Play me something from inside Llewyn Davis.
Okay. Green, green, rocky road, yeah. You're promenading green.
Yeah?
Hey, it's me, Llewyn.
Yeah?
Can I come up?
No.
There is a bit of the comedy of resilience. In a way, kind of like Buster Keaton. He bumps up against so much hardship trying to do this thing, which is this love of music, something that's very true and a real expression of his soul. But eventually he just wants to get out of it because ultimately I think he feels it's ruining his life.
Playing the gaslight for the 400th time for the basket.
Actually, you'd have to split the basket.
It's just one roadblock after the other, but he's pushing through, and that, I think, makes us laugh.
Where do you live, Al? Nice place?
It's a dump.
Uh-huh. Got a couch?
Well, if the music's not...
What, quit? Just exist?
Exist? Is that what we do outside of show business?
We were looking for a suitable actor and a credible musician, which is hard to find in combination.
Since I was 12, I've been playing guitar, and when I started prepping for this movie, I really immersed myself in this kind of thing, this Travis picking and this particular style. Listening to a lot of Lead Belly, Reverend Gary Davis, and all these guys.
Okay.
All the music in the movie is performed live, but we did a week of pre-records, recording all the music in the movie. The pre-records, in effect, served as a rehearsal for all the actors.
If I had wings, I know what to
I met at T-Bone and he asked me to come and just be involved, and then eventually asked me to sort of be the associate producer on it, which was very serious words for what we were doing, which was basically just sitting in a room playing guitars and singing and making choices about music.
Yeah, let's do 2 full instruments.
There were a lot of nice, fortuitous things that happened in the casting. T-Bone had decided he wanted Marcus to co-produce the music with him in the movie, and he said he was having lunch with Marcus and Carrie, and I said, we're just in the process of talking to Carrie about doing this part in the movie.
I should have had you wear double condoms and then wrap it in electrical tape. You should just walk around always inside a great big condom because you are...
Okay.
She seemed to sort of be able to perfectly embody this woman who sings very sweetly, but is unbelievably angry.
It was kind of a great place to start, I think, because we were shooting in the Gaslight and we had these extras. So we had an audience, and I couldn't get up there and be nervous because there were like 50 people watching. Singing just seems to be the most nerve-wracking thing to do, and especially when you're surrounded by actual musicians like Oscar and Justin.
It was my first time to really take music and film and be able to be a part of the clashing of those two worlds. And working on the music was the first thing we did.
If you do 2 pa-pas.
Pa-pa.
Yep.
And I sweat when
Yep.
pa-pa. I sweat when they stuff me in the pressure suit. Okay.
This movie, we worked with Bruno Delbonnel, somebody actually that we'd worked with once before for the compilation film Paris Je t'aime.
I wanted always to have the set to fall off in shadows. You know. The actors are lit, but then the set vanished.
We actually, Bruno kind of showed us the cover of Freewheelin' Bob Dylan.
Since I'm very familiar with Bob Dylan, I said, oh, it could be a reference. And I called them and said, that's exactly what we thought. Yeah, you nail it.
A very kind of ectochrome, slightly desaturated color, gray, slushy New York in the winter. That's actually, as I say, what we ended up with, is surprisingly, at the end of the day. It's weird when the plan actually works.
All right, one more before I go. If I had wings.
It's just a good, solid character study. Maybe it'll make people laugh. Maybe it'll make people think. Maybe it'll get them to download some music. I was going to say go to the record store, but they don't do that anymore.
We were making space in the stockroom. Thought you might want to keep some copies.
Something that Dave Van Ronk wrote in his book was, if I could have gotten out, I would have. And I think that rings true for Llewyn.
It can go from being really, really funny. A minute later, it's just heartbreakingly sad.
This film is very much like a folk song in that it starts out and you hear about an incident. And so the first incident is the first verse, then the second verse is a whole new story. It takes you through these verses to get to the end and you get back to where you were in the beginning, but you know a lot more than you did when you saw it the first time. Right? And that's what always happens in these folk songs. It's this crucial American story about the thing I care most about in our culture, music.
Taking off, Pop. Shipping out. Here's this. You used to like this.
Fare thee well.
That's what I got.